It's midnight and you're tuning in to Nightline with me, Nurin Razmyn. News making the headlines. Attack on UNIFIL. Malaysia strongly condemns Israeli strike on Lebanon. And UPNM senior claims trial to assaulting junior with hot iron. Good morning. Malaysia has strongly condemned the atrocities committed by the Zionist regime in Lebanon, including the recent attack on the United Nations UN Interim Force in Lebanon, UNIFIL, which injured Malaysian peacekeepers. Communications Minister and Unity Government spokesperson Fahmi Fadzil said the matter was discussed at the cabinet meeting on Friday, which was chaired by Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim.
Kerajaan Malaysia mengecam sekeras-kerasnya tindakan kejam rejim Zionis Israel dan ini tidak boleh diterima. Dan apa yang Menteri Pertahanan telah sebut mengenai perancangan, sekiranya perlu diambil apa-apa tindakan, kita rujuk kepada Kementerian Pertahanan nanti.
On Thursday, 6 Malaysian Battalion Malbat members were injured following an explosion near Saida Stadium in Lebanon. The incident occurred during the movement of the Malbat 850-12 members from Beirut to Camp Marika at 7:54 p.m. Malaysian time. The Malaysian Armed Forces said in a statement on Thursday that 5 personnel from Malbat 850-12 sustained minor injuries, with one member suffering a fracture on the left arm. Another serviceman from Malbat 850-11 also sustained minor injuries. The team, consisting of 220 officers and members of other ranks, had just arrived in Lebanon to continue the peacekeeping mission under the UN when the attack occurred. Meanwhile, the Malaysian Armed Forces, MAF, has confirmed that the Malbat 850-12 convoy has safely arrived at Camp Marika, Lebanon at 11:30 p.m. Malaysian time on Thursday. In a statement on Friday, the MAF said that 6 personnel injured in the attack are resting at the camp. The statement also noted that the MAF will proceed with the deployment of the second batch of Malbat 850-12 troops, comprising of 219 personnel, which is expected to depart for Lebanon on Sunday. In the meantime, the armed forces said it will continue to closely monitor developments regarding the situation and will provide updates on the incident as necessary. It added that it remains committed to the safety and well-being of its personnel in carrying out the peacekeeping mission under the UN. The High Court has ordered Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin to pay 1.35 million ringgit in damages to Lim Guan for defaming the DAP chairman over the revocation of Al-Bukhairi Foundation's tax exemption. This followed a decision by Judicial Commissioner Razmyn on Friday that allowed Lim's suit against Muhyiddin after finding that the former finance minister had proved his case against the former prime minister. The defamatory statements implied that Lim had abused his position and power as the then finance minister by authorizing or directing the Inland Revenue Board to impose taxes and penalties on the charitable foundation despite being exempted. The Judicial Commissioner, in her judgment, said Muhyiddin had resources at his disposal to verify and confirm whether his statements were correct. Yet she said Muhyiddin did not do so and continued to make further defamatory statements. On March 27, 2023, Lim filed a lawsuit against Muhyiddin for allegedly making 3 defamatory statements involving him in a tax exemption issue. When met by the media, Guan said the court's decision proved that what Muhyiddin had said was false and baseless.
Hari ini saya telah dapat keadilan untuk membersihkan nama saya. Kerana sememangnya saya tidak membuat, iaitu membatalkan pengecualian cukai.
Meanwhile, Muhyiddin had instructed his lawyers to appeal against the court's decision. In a brief statement on Facebook, Muhyiddin said he believes the amount that was awarded by the court was excessive. However, in compliance with the court's decision, the Perikatan Nasional chairman said he will be removing the postings that are the subject matter of this action from his Facebook and social media accounts. A senior at University Pertahanan Nasional Malaysia, UPNM, has claimed trial to a charge of voluntarily causing hurt with a dangerous weapon on a second-year cadet officer last month. 22-year-old Amirul Iskandar Nurhanizan is accused of causing hurt by pressing a heated steam iron on the chest of a 20-year-old cadet officer, Muhammad Salman Muhammad Saiful Shurash. He committed the offence at 11:45 p.m. at the Pertahanan Nasi Dasturi at Academy Latihan Kententeraan UPNM in Sungai Besi on October 22nd. He entered his non-guilty plea before Sessions Court Judge Agusra Ali. The accused faces a maximum 10-year jail term or a fine, whipping or both under Section 324 of the Penal Code. Amirul Iskandar, who was unrepresented, made his own mitigation. The court allowed bail at 20,000 ringgit with 2 sureties and barred him from harassing and contacting prosecution witnesses. The court set December 27th for mention. It had been previously reported that an investigation paper was opened after the victim lodged a report on November 1st. In the October 22nd incident, the fourth-year senior had approached the victim and asked him to iron his clothes before grabbing the iron and pressing it on the right side of the victim's chest. In Sarawak, police have arrested 2 suspects in connection with the fatal shooting of a man in Bintulu. The incident occurred at about 11:48 p.m. on Thursday on the 4th floor of a hotel car park. The shooting incident was recorded by a closed-circuit television CCTV camera in the car park and has since gone viral on social media. According to Bintulu District Police Chief Superintendent Nixon Joshua Ali, the victim, 36-year-old Ling Deng Singh, was found covered in blood and was declared dead by medical personnel at the scene. He added that the man from Cebu was shot in the chest. Following this, police arrested a local man and a foreigner aged 36 and 43 in Miri at 2:35 a.m. on Friday and seized a vehicle believed to be connected to the case. The case is being investigated under the Penal Code for murder. In Pulau Pinang, a man who stabbed a woman and her father to death at an apartment in Georgetown on Thursday has been remanded for a week to assist in the case investigations. The suspect is being remanded at the Pulau Pinang Hospital where he is being treated. Magistrate Shahira Abdul Halim granted the suspect's remand order starting Friday until November 14th to facilitate investigations under the Penal Code for murder. In the incident at about 1 p.m. on Thursday, a 30-year-old woman and her 62-year-old father were stabbed to death by a man at an apartment building in Bandar Baru Farlim, Air Itam. It is believed that the stabbing was the result of an argument between the woman and the suspect, who had his romantic advances rejected by the mother of 3. The woman's father tried to break up the fight, but the suspect stabbed the 2 to death before slashing and stabbing himself. Both victims died at the scene, while the 32-year-old suspect is in stable condition. The process of recording statements from the founding couple of fashion valet Sendirian Berhad, which continued on Friday, was completed after about 5 hours. This marks the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC's 4th day of obtaining evidence from Datin Vivi Yusof and her husband Datuk Fazaruddin Shah Anwar. Earlier, the couple arrived to have their statements recorded at 9:14 a.m. The vehicle carrying the couple was then seen leaving the MACC headquarters at 1:58 p.m. On Thursday, the MACC revealed that it had detected several suspicious transactions between 2018 and last year while reviewing documents obtained during its investigation. As part of the ongoing investigation, the MACC also froze several of the couple's personal and company bank accounts, amounting to approximately 1.1 million ringgit on November 6. Meanwhile, MACC Chief Commissioner Tan Sri Azam Baki, when contacted by TV3, said there are several other aspects to the investigation, including obtaining statements from the company's Commission of Malaysia and the Finance Ministry. Azam also indicated that the couple is expected to be summoned again on Saturday for a 5th day of questioning. He explained that the decision on whether to detain the couple depends on the investigating officers in the case, and said he will leave it to the investigators to decide on the appropriate action to take based on the investigation results. The manufacturing sector sales value for September 2024 reached 162.3 billion ringgit, continuing to improve by 2.9% year-on-year. According to the Department of Statistics Malaysia, the rise was mainly driven by the electrical and electronics products subsector, which grew by 5.8% after a 10.3% increase in August. The growth was also supported by food, beverages and tobacco subsector with an increase of 5.6%, and the non-metallic mineral products, basic metal and fabricated metal products, which increased by 5.1%. Export-oriented industries, which contributed 72.6% of sales value, meanwhile, moderated to a 3% increase in September this year, compared to 7.7% growth a month earlier. Salaries and wages in the sector rose by 1.2% year-on-year in September, reaching 8.23 billion ringgit, representing a 1.4% increase. Donald Trump's re-election as the U.S. president could affect Malaysia, particularly in the energy, trade and export, and technology and manufacturing sectors. According to digital investment firm Mumu Malaysia, Trump's policies are expected to favor traditional energy sectors, supporting fossil fuel industries and easing regulations. For Malaysia, this aligns with the strength of its oil and gas sector and will help the FTSE Bursa Malaysia FBM Energy Index, which is currently sitting at around 840.90 points, as oil demand is expected to increase. However, for trade and export-dependent sectors, U.S. protectionist policies could pose challenges for Malaysia's export-driven economy, especially for sectors such as palm oil, electronics and rubber. China on Friday approved a 10 trillion yuan or 1.4 trillion US dollar plan to bolster its ailing economy by allowing local governments to swap out their hidden debt. Finance Minister Lan Fuan said the 838 billion US dollar debt limit would be made available over 3 years to help regional governments replace their so-called hidden debt. The local governments will also be given access to a separate 558 billion US dollar quota in the form of special local bonds over 5 years, with the aim of trimming their debt holdings. As the end of the 2023, China had an enormous hidden debt balance of 1.99 trillion US dollar. Officials aim to trim that amount to 320 billion US dollar by 2028. The just concluded U.S. election saw the wealth of the world's 10 richest people soared by a record amount. The biggest gainer was Elon Musk, the world's richest person and one of Trump's most outspoken and dedicated supporters, whose wealth jumped 26.5 billion US dollar to 290 billion US dollars as of Wednesday, while Amazon founder Jeff Bezos' wealth grew 7.1 billion US dollar. Other gainers include Oracle co-founder Larry Ellison, former Microsoft executives Bill Gates and Steve Ballmer, and Berkshire Hathaway CEO Warren Buffett. Collectively, the top 10 richest people gained 64 billion US dollar, the biggest daily increase of wealth since the index began in 2012. Smash into semis. Sports action after this breather.
Apa yang diorang misal ni lah? MHI pukul 10? Apa yang pukul 10?
Dah pukul 9 Nas, kita dah lambat.
Yelah, lagi setengah jam kita bersiaran. Mana seorang?
Tenang, kita kan sekarang dah bersiaran pukul 10 pagi.
Ya ke? Ni, dah 9.30 lah. Cepat sikit, kita lambat dah.
Awak gimana? Kita kan dah start bersiaran pukul 10.
Pukul 10?
Ya betul, mulai 1 November, MHI akan mula bersiaran pada jam 10 hingga jam 11 pagi.
Jangan lupa terus bersama kami dengan pelbagai perkongsian menarik di TV3.
Dan stream melalui tonton.
Kenapa kau kacau cucu aku?
Siapa?
Kau dah termakan dengan cerita karut Nasrun ke apa? Saya nak cari orang yang pandai berubat. Apa ada kawan tak?
Ilmu yang dihantar ni kuat sangat.
Segalanya akan kuturutkan.
Sebab kami ni miskin, tak berkuasa, nak kena diamlah.
Perempuan Ilmu Hitam, Isnin hingga Khamis 10 malam di Samarinda TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Gadis dan Angan-Angan. Khamis hingga Sabtu 9 malam di Lestari TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Welcome back. Sports Now Badminton, the 2024 Korea Masters. National men's double pair, Aaron Chia, So Woo-yik, continued their strong run by advancing to the semi-finals of the Super 300 event on Friday. The world number 6 pair faced little trouble as they overcame world number 237 home duo Kim Jae-hyun, Lee Sang-won in straight sets 21-17, 21-12 in a 33-minute quarter-final clash at the Iksan Gymnasium. Up next for the former world champions is a clash with Taiwan's world number 76 Chu Xiang-chae, Wan Chi-lin for a place in the final. Moving on to football, the Saudi Pro League. Al Ittihad secure a 2-0 win over Al Aroba to move above Al Hilal at the top of the table. Al Ittihad opened the scoring in the 24th minute with a beautiful header from Al Shehri following a sublime cross by Al Shankiti. Just 9 minutes after the break, former Chelsea defender Kurt Zouma made a reckless challenge against Al Shehri in the box, in which the visitors were awarded a penalty. Dutch international Steven Bergwijn stepped up and calmly converted the spot kick. With the win, Al Ittihad moved 2 points clear of Al Hilal with 27 points from 10 games played. Turning to tennis, the 2024 Riyadh WTA Finals. Czech Republic's Barbora Krejcikova secured her place in the semi-finals after a surprise victory over Coco Gauff. Krejcikova recorded the upset of the day as she claimed a straight sets victory 7-5, 6-4 over the third-seeded Gauff, a result that eliminated second-ranked Iga Swiatek from the season-ending tournament. This victory confirmed Krejcikova as the winner of the Orange Group, setting up a semi-final showdown against China's top-ranked player Zhen Qingwang on Friday. Republic's White House Chief of Staff. The details when Nightline returns.
Lebih segar, lebih dinamik. Laporan komprehensif menghidupkan pagi anda.
Buletin pagi dengan waktu yang baharu. 9.30 pagi setiap hari bermula 1 November.
Want to know what it takes to innovate? It's collaboration, support, and action.
It's about taking the risk. Don't be afraid. If you have those negative thoughts saying that you can't do it, you don't have the background, cut them out. Trust me, just try. If you fail, you learn.
Curiosity is the one which will take you to spaces where you are not sure of. It's okay to be in those spaces.
Watch Women Talk Saturdays, 5 p.m. on TV3. Stream now on Tonton.
3 identiti, 1 misi. Si ayah seorang perisik. Si ibu pembunuh upahan. Dan si anak dengan kuasa telepati. Berpura-pura menjadi keluarga, tetapi ada rahsia yang disembunyikan. Saksikan Spy X Family setiap Ahad 11 malam di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Percutian bertukar tragedi.
Doktor sebenarnya dah nak stop dah, tapi ibu saya mohon doktor biarkanlah dia hidup sehari lagi.
Sekiranya tidak dirawat segera, penyakit kencing tikus boleh meranggut nyawa.
Especially kalau dia affect kita punya buah pinggang, paru-paru dan sebagainya. Ada setengah kes boleh membawa kepada maut.
Apakah peluang untuk sembuh sepenuhnya? Ikuti perbincangan mengenai penyakit kencing tikus dalam Hello Doktor Ahad 5.30 petang di TV3 dan stream juga melalui Tonton.
On to the foreign front. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump has named his campaign aide Susie Wiles as his White House Chief of Staff on Thursday, the first of several big appointments expected in the coming days, as ballot counting continues in some House races, which will determine whether the Republicans can take total control of Congress. The appointment was the first of what is expected to be a flurry of staffing announcements as Trump girds for a return to the White House on January 20th. However, Trump's ability to push through his legislative agenda hangs in the balance as votes continue to be counted in more than 24 congressional races that will determine which party controls the House of Representatives. While Trump secured a stunning victory in this week's presidential election and Republicans will have a majority in the U.S. Senate, a long list of House races have yet to be called, leaving it unclear whether Republicans will hold onto the lower chamber. If Democrats are able to reclaim control of the House, they could act as a bulwark against the Trump White House and a Republican-held Senate. But given the scale of Republican wins on Tuesday night, many nonpartisan analysts expect the lower chamber will probably remain under GOP control. Meanwhile, U.S. President Joe Biden urged Americans to bring down the temperature on Thursday, following Republican Donald Trump's election victory, and sought to console fellow Democrats who were alarmed by the former president's stunning comeback. Biden said setbacks are unavoidable and giving up is unforgivable, as he also asked Americans to lay rest the question about the integrity of the American electoral system following Tuesday's election results.
Something I hope we can do, no matter who you voted for, is see each other not as adversaries, but as fellow Americans. Bring down the temperature. I also hope we can lay to rest the question about the integrity of the American electoral system. It is honest, it is fair, and it is transparent. And it can be trusted, win or lose.
The president also said that he would preside over an orderly transfer of power, an implicit rebuke of Trump, who sought to overturn his 2020 defeat to Biden by raising baseless claims of fraud in 2020 as well as this year.
I will do my duty as president. I'll fulfill my oath, and I will honor the Constitution. On January 20th, we'll have a peaceful transfer of power here in America.
The United Nations on Friday condemned this staggering number of civilians killed in Israel's war in Gaza, with women and children comprising nearly 70% of the thousands of fatalities it had managed to verify. In a fresh report, the United Nations Human Rights Office detailed the horrific reality that has unfolded for civilians in Gaza. It detailed a vast array of violations of international law, warning that many could amount to war crimes, crimes against humanity, and possibly even genocide. The UN said the report shows how civilians in Gaza have borne the brunt of the attacks, including through the initial complete siege of Gaza by Zionist forces. It also pointed to the Israeli government's continuing unlawful failures to allow, facilitate and ensure the entry of humanitarian aid, the destruction of civilian infrastructure and repeated mass displacement. Meanwhile, at least 13 Palestinians have been killed in Zionist attacks on Gaza's north since dawn, with 4 more killed elsewhere in the war-torn enclave, as Lebanon's Ministry of Public Health confirmed at least 52 deaths in the last 24 hours. On another matter, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu sent 2 rescue planes to the Netherlands on Friday after Israeli football fans were reportedly injured in violence in Amsterdam. In a statement, Netanyahu's office said the Prime Minister views the horrifying incident with utmost gravity and demands that the Dutch government and security forces take vigorous and swift action against the rioters. However, it did not clarify what led to what it called a very violent incident against Israeli citizens. The Israeli embassy in the US said hundreds of Israeli fans were ambushed and attacked in Amsterdam as they left the stadium following a game. According to Israel's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, 10 Israelis were injured and 2 were missing after the clashes. Let's take a look as London's Battersea Power Station marked the opening of its popular festive ice rink on Thursday. With that, I'm Nurin Razmyn. Thank you for watching and stay safe, Malaysia.